my distinguished colleague, long-time MP for Malaysia, Tan Sri Rafidah binti Abdul Aziz, and also advisor patron to Malaysia-Europe Forum. Your Excellency Vincent Piquet, Ambassador and Head of Delegation, the Delegation of European Union to Malaysia, Mr. Swarup Roy, Founder and Chief Executive Officer, ASEAN Affairs, distinguished speakers and panelists, representatives from the Malaysian Europe Forum, distinguished participants, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and Salam Satu Malaysia. First and foremost, allow me to extend my congratulations to the organizers of today's conference, the ASEAN Affairs, and the Malaysia-Europe Forum for their commitment and diligence in putting together this very important event. This series of conferences, collectively known as Save Our Planet, has built a strong reputation in a short time. As you all well know, the 2009 Copenhagen Summit concluded on a rather anticlimactic note. The Copenhagen Accord is not a binding agreement or a treaty, but a mere political commitment by parties. What is important now is for all parties to prepare for the next conference, which is COP16, and I believe at the end of this year at Cancun, Mexico. It is the hope of all member countries, I think, to see a legal binding agreement or commitment with clear obligations, especially by the developed countries on carbon emissions reduction. Climate change and global warming are issues that affect mankind. Thus, we must take full responsibility in mitigating the consequences. We need concrete and definite actions, one of which is such as a series of conferences like this. I am glad to see so many participants, both from the government and academia, as well as the diplomatic corps, to be here today to attend this conference. Your presence is definitely a sign of your support and the conclusion that we need to address climate change issues. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian government is cognizant of the effects of global warming and is committed to combating this global phenomena. Our commitment was made to the global community when, in December 2009, our Prime Minister, Dato Sri Muhammad Najib bin Tun Haji Abdul Razak, pledged at the 15th United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP15, in Copenhagen, that Malaysia will reduce its carbon dioxide emissions intensity to the GDP by 40% by the year 2020, based on the 2005 levels, conditional upon transfer of technology and finance from developed nations. I am rather perturbed by the greenhouse gas emissions in Malaysia that has shown a distinct increase per GDP per capita since 1994. Our total greenhouse gas emissions increased by 55% as at 2000 when compared to the 1994 levels. Malaysia's emissions of CO2 per capita is about 7.1 ton per capita, which is at a higher level than Asia Pacific at 2.6 ton per capita, based on the National Communications Report that was submitted by each country to the UNFCCC. It is common knowledge that carbon dioxide emissions is largely responsible for our global warming problems. Malaysia has identified 5 sectors which are the main contributors: energy, industrial processes, agriculture, land use, and land use change, and waste. The energy sector, however, has been identified as the largest contributor. Ladies and gentlemen, in their 2007 Climate Change Synthesis Report, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, has concluded that the energy sector contributed 25.9% towards global anthropogenic CO2 emissions. Overall, fossil fuels used contributed 56.6% towards global anthropogenic CO2 emissions. From these statistics, it can be concluded that reducing GHG emissions from the energy sector should be the main priority of every nation. However, I'd like to point out that even at the present level of emission by the energy sector, the decision to balance between energy security and the emissions of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere is quite a struggle. And those of you who are in decision making on this area will probably realize that at times it is really tearing into one's decision, into one's decision on which one we should wear: a nation's energy security versus the planting up of some power plants which may emit carbon dioxide. Presently, my ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment to ensure that Malaysia's pledge at Copenhagen is met, especially from the energy sector. My ministry is currently developing the National Energy Efficiency Master Plan to ensure efficient use of energy in the country. Apart from that, I'm proud to inform you that the government has approved the implementation of the Renewable Energy Policy and Action Plan, starting from the 10th Malaysia Plan, which is next year. With both plans in place, I anticipate the results will contribute significantly towards the reduction of GHG emissions in Malaysia. Green technology will be the mainstay of the government's agenda and will become one of the new drivers of the country's economy. The Renewable Energy Policy and Action Plan is one of the initial efforts to move towards these initiatives. Apart from contributing towards the reduction of our GHG, renewable energy will be a new source of economic growth. Although a shift away from reliance on heavy resource consumptive industries for economic growth is essential, the nation's resources could be used in creative and sustainable ways to build new, diverse, high-value, high-tech industries and services, such as photovoltaic and biomass technologies. These technologies will be able to drive high-value,